decadent parasol, all frills and lace and frou-frou, as she trailed a hand languidly through the water. Her beau, pulling manfully at the oars in rolled-up shirt-sleeves, didn't look as if he were enjoying himself quite as much. Undignified rivulets of sweat streaked the beet-red face beneath his boater.
"You wouldn't say disasters?"
Daniel repeated, chuckling as he led me away.
"The shirtwaist factory?"
"So I got a needle through my thumb. It could have happened to anyone." I tossed my head, almost losing my straw boater into the water.
"And who sewed all those sleeves on inside out?"
Those alarming blue eyes were twinkling. "That wasn't why I was fired, and you know it. It was because I stood up to that brute of a foreman and wasn't about to take any of his nonsense. All those unfair rules, docking their workers' pay every time they so much as sneezed. I knew right away that I'd never be able to hold my tongue for long."
"Then there was the cafe,"
Daniel reminded me. I gave him a sheepish grin. Yes, I suppose that counted as a spectacular disaster. We had reached the dappled shade of spreading chestnut trees as the path left the lakeside. The effect was instant, like stepping into a pool of cool water.
"Ah, that's better,"
Daniel said.
"Look, there's a bench under that tree. Let's sit a while."
I noticed that Daniel seemed to be feeling the heat more than I. His face was as red as the young man's in the rowboat, and his wild black curls were plastered to his forehead under his boater. Of course, gentlemen are at a disadvantage on days like this, having to wear jackets whilst we women can keep cool in muslins. But he was a born New Yorker. I'd have thought he grew up used to this heat. I, on the other hand, had come from the wild west coast of Ireland, where a couple of sunny days in a row counted as a heatwave, and we had the chilly Atlantic at our feet whenever we needed to cool off. Daniel took out his handkerchief and mopped at his brow.
"That's better,"
he said.
"I swear, every summer is hotter than the last. It's those new skyscrapers. They block the cooling breezes from the East River and the Hudson."
"It's certainly hot enough." I fanned myself with the penny fan I had bought from a street vendor last week. It was a pretty little thing from China, made of paper and decorated with a picture of a pagoda and wild mountain scenery. "Here, you look as if you could use this more than me." I turned and fanned Daniel too. He grabbed at my wrist, laughing.
"Stop it. You'll be offering me your smelling salts next."
"I've never carried smelling salts in my life, and never intend to," I said. "Fainting is for ninnies."
"That's what I like about you, Molly Murphy."
For a long minute, Daniel gazed at me in a way that turned my insides to water, his fingers still firmly around my wrist.
"Your spirit. That and your trim little waist, of course, and those big green eyes and that adorable little nose."
He touched it playfully. Then the smile faded, but the look of longing remained.
"Oh, Molly, I just wish—"
He let the rest of the sentence hang in the humid air, making me wonder what exactly he was wishing. He was young and healthy, with great career prospects, and a future that should have included a wife too. But I wasn't going to press him on this one. Who knew how men's minds worked? He could be waiting for a pay raise or saving enough to buy a house before he popped the question, if he did indeed intend to pop it. For once in my life, I kept silent. "I'm pretty content myself," I said gaily. "I have a fine big room of my own and a handsome fellow who comes to call from time to time, and I'm living in a big city, just like I always dreamed I would." Daniel let his gaze fall, and he sat there for a moment, silent, his eyes focused on his hands in his lap. "There's no rush for anything, Daniel," I said. "If I could just find a way to keep myself a respectable job where I wasn't abused or overworked."
"Did I not mention the companion's position?"
I patted his hand. "Daniel, can you see me as a companion to an old lady? Companions are pathetic, downtrodden creatures who cringe when spoken to and spend their days holding knitting wool and combing cats. I tried my hand at being a servant, remember? I wasn't born to be humble, and you know yourself that I can never learn when to hold my tongue."
"But a companion is not a servant, Molly. You'd be expected to read.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.